Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Good evening, and welcome to Vernon Vibes. As always, it's great to share this time with you. I look forward to it. And this evening's broadcast actually it would be appropriate for me to start our program by recognizing that we are, in fact, recording this on Veterans Day, November the 11th. And I think I'd like to take the opportunity to thank every single veteran, present and past, those who have served their country with honor and pride and have, in some cases, suffered the ultimate sacrifice, in others carrying scars through their life. I would just like to say on behalf of the people of Vernon, welcome home to all of you. We do appreciate your sacrifice, your contribution, your service to your country, and it's people like yourselves who make it possible for people like me to have a show like this. And I'm certainly thankful for that, because if nothing else, in America, we still have freedom of speech because of our veterans and because of our way of life. So as you folks are watching this show, I'd hope that you would just take 1 minute and give some thought to those people who have served to keep our country free and keep us able to live the way that we choose to as Americans. And I also would suggest to you that if you know a veteran or you see a veteran, thank them. Let them know that you appreciate what they've done on our behalf. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. You know, I've had folks that talk to me about the show that have seen it, and they say to me, you know, gee, Vic, all the time, you know, when you're talking about things, it seems like everything is going really well, and you know, there aren't any mistakes or whatever, and for the most part, I think that's a fairly good representation of my experience here with the people that work in Vernon Township's government. But I do also want to take the opportunity to make you aware of some things, some occurrences, some situations, so that whatever the result may be, you're not going to be terribly surprised by it. And I'd like to start with some news that we received this past week. As I've mentioned on previous shows, we've begun the budget process, and candidly, Elke Yetter, our CFO, and Bill Zuckerman, our business administrator, and I, we're feeling pretty darn confident that we could bring a budget in for 2015 that would not have a property tax increase for municipal purposes. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to do that in 2015, and I'd like to take some time to explain it to you. But I want to qualify my comments next in terms of the fact that they're not final, they're preliminary, but I believe they're an indicator of what we're going to experience. And what is it that I'm talking about? This past week, Vernon Township received its proposal from our health insurers, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield, that had projected for 2015 a 20% increase, thereabouts, give or take, a 20% increase in the premium. Now, when you lay that against the fact that the most that we're allowed to raise property taxes is 2%, you can see that that's a huge, huge imbalance. That number converts to about $650,000 to $700,000 increase in the premium for health benefits for the people that work in Vernon Township and who have retired from Vernon Township. And before we leave this subject, I want to talk to you a little bit about that. However, let me convert it for you real quick. If that increase ends up being $700,000, we're talking about 3 tax points. Obviously, my financial committee and myself will be relooking, reworking, revisiting all the work that has been done so far, which with each of the department heads, frankly, asking them to go back into their budget and see whether or not they can save 10% on their O&E side of the budget. That's our goal. If we can do that, it'll offset this huge increase. But nonetheless, I'm sharing it with you now. I don't want to be alarmist about it, but I also think that those of you who watch the show have a right to know what is in the future for us. I said I wanted to come back and talk to you about Blue Shield, Blue Cross, and how many people. Oftentimes, and we've talked in the past, I've indicated that we have 119 employees working for Vernon Township as I'm talking to you today. However, we have an additional 439 retirees who are covered by Blue Cross Blue Shield because of contractual relationships that were negotiated long, long ago and have not been changed. And so how does that relate to this increase in premium? You know, where does Blue Cross Blue Shield get off doing this? And my initial reaction was kind of like, oh, let's go somewhere else and see if we can't find someone else that'll do better for us. Well, in fact, our brokers shopped our health plan to the following companies. And if you just bear with me a second, I can't call them from memory, but I definitely want to let you know that in addition to Blue Cross Blue Shield, we requested that Aetna, Cigna, Oxford, and QualCare give us a quote, and all 4 declined to do so. Now, that would give you an indication that, you know, there's some reason for this jump, and there really is, and I want to share it with you. The first part of the jump is due, in fact, directly to the Affordable Care Act, commonly known as Obamacare. You'll recall last year that I called to your attention the fact that Vernon Township was going to be paying somewhere in the area of $80,000 as a tax on the premiums of our health plan because it's such a good one. It's called a Cadillac program, and that would be going up in the future. And this year it will generate about $190,000 in federal tax. So if 700 is the number, basically 200 or thereabouts is Obamacare, a little less. The rest is due to the experience ratio, and experience ratio has to do with the actual outlay for medical care for the people who are covered under our plan. And what I have in front of me is a complete analysis of that. And there are 2 things, or several things, but 2 that are impacting dramatically on this. We have an individual who is on a drug therapy that costs Blue Cross Blue Shield about $28,000 a month. It's a life-saving drug, and in fact is working, I'm told. I have no idea who the employee is. We're not allowed to know, and I don't want to know. But I do know that there is an individual who's receiving this drug. It's extremely expensive, and it is is allowing that individual to live as opposed to dying. It's pretty dramatic. But that converts to almost $300,000 a year in premium for prescription drugs for one person. When you add to that the aging population of our employees, which is the natural course of things, the Vernon Township's overall population is aging. All the all the demographic studies show us that we are not. In fact, we don't have anywhere near the number of children in schools that we once had. It's probably down by 35 to 40% from the peak. That's all a function of a community that is, in fact, aging. And so we're experiencing that milieu of situations in terms of impacting on this premium. We're going to talk more about it as we move forward. We're going to have to find a way for the township to come to grips with this huge expense. The total premium for health care in Vernon Township for the employees and the retirees in 2015 is going to be $3,659,000. That's a lot of money, folks. So we're going to have to deal with it. I wish I could tell you I had the answer to it right this minute, but I will make this commitment to you. As we go into contract negotiations with our unions, we will have an earnest and honest and open discussion with our employees about this, the impact of it, and in fact look for ways to reduce the cost to you, the taxpayers, without jeopardizing the health and welfare of our employees. Remember this, we are now 4 years into the arbitration cap law that was passed early in Chris Christie's administration and was just recently renewed. What that means is that all of the employees are now paying their full required share of the premium. That happens to be 34%, 33 and change percent of the total cost. So when you look at, for example, an individual package, which I believe costs somewhere in the area of $8,000 to $9,000, a third of that is being paid by the employee. If it's a husband and wife plan, the cost of that plan is somewhere in the $18,000 to $19,000. This is per year. Again, the employee is paying a third of that premium now. And of course, for a family, which is the most expensive, it's about $27,000 or $28,000 a year, but the same percentage of the premium is now paid by the employee. So while over the last 4 years, there has been changes in the cost and the way the cost of premiums for healthcare are being disseminated, it's still not enough to overcome the drastic cost in medical care and thereby insurance. So we're going to be talking more about it real soon. I'll be right back.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. It's not all doom and gloom. This past week, I was involved in conversations, negotiations, and ultimately agreement with the United Water Company on behalf of Vernon Township to, in fact, provide water to a significant part of the new town center. We're not going to be able to do it all at once. However, there will be water made available so that the new CVS, which you've heard about for the corner of Main Street and Route 94, will in fact begin its construction in the spring of 2015, and we will have a beautiful new addition to Vernon's Town Center, the first since the work has been completed. I'm excited about it. I'm happy to have CVS in our town, and as a matter of fact, to have come to an agreement with United Water as to how that's going to be accomplished as we move forward. Obviously, I'll be sharing more and more details, but I've made it quite clear in the past that my goal was to make the sewer work when I ran for this office, and then to find a way to have central water wherever there was sewer. We've been working on that during my entire term, and at this point in time, it's nice to be able to tell you that we're meeting with some success. So I'm happy about it, And those are the kind of things, in all honesty, that I enjoy being involved with on your behalf. Another issue I do want to talk to you about, I will in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. You may recall, or maybe you won't if you didn't see the show, that earlier this year, as we were changing fire officials here in Vernon, we had a situation where there was a grant that we received from the federal government for certain kinds of radio equipment. And by dint of some mistakes that were made by the then purchasing agent here and the then fire marshal here, both of whom no longer work here, the radios that we purchased didn't meet the specification of the federal grant. And it was a significant amount of money. I bring it up to share with you now that through the efforts of our CFO, Elke Yetter, who is becoming it's becoming more clear to me that what a wonderful asset she is to us, all of us, how she saves us money and helps succeed in dealing with very tenuous situations like we had, because the entire situation has been resolved, and in fact, the FEMA will in fact see to it that we continue to have the money that we need. It will be spent in a little different fashion. You see, in the budget for 2015, the township had budgeted money to buy new turnout gear for the 4 fire companies. Turnout gear being the coats and the pants and the self-contained breathing apparatus that all firemen are required to have when they go into a fire. Pretty expensive stuff, as my memory serves me, with the mask and everything. It's about $5,000 or $6,000 per fireman, and we had put money in the capital budget, the band that we had passed, for that purpose. FEMA allowed us to use the money that was going to be paid for the radios that are already installed and working beautifully, by the way, to buy the turnout gear, and allowed us, the township, to take the money that we were going to buy the turnout gear and pay for the radios. That resolution to the problem truly rests at the feet of Elke Yetter and Bill Zuckerman. The two of them worked extremely hard with the help of Lou Tosto, our new fire marshal, and I'm happy to tell you that it's been resolved without any insurance claims, without any money being paid back to the federal government, without any kinds of questions, because it's all been done properly now. And that's part of my responsibility, to see that that happens. So I wanted to report it to you. We're happy about it. Last night's meeting, the council, in fact, unanimously approved the necessary resolutions to memorialize what I've just shared with you, and we will go forward with an improved radio system and better protected firemen as we move forward. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. As I also like to do, I like to keep you up to breast and let you know what some of the projects are going forward. Before I do that, though, I just want to tell you that the Animal Control Center addition is actually completely walled, and a little later on this week, the roof truss will be going on, the windows will be going in, the building will be closed up, and our people will be working inside during the cold weather. That entire addition, a 20 by 24 addition to the Animal Control Center, the pound, has been done completely by Vernon Township DPW employees. In doing it that way, it's interesting, we find that while it may take a week longer to do it than if we had subcontracted out, this even calculating the additional salaries for that additional week, we save literally tens of thousands of dollars by doing it ourselves. And so we've been doing it. And for those of you who are particularly interested in our furry friends like I am, their home will be improved, the offices will be improved, and Vernon Township's Animal Control Center will be a place where you'll be happy to stop by. So I wanted to let you know about that. The building that we have planned for security for our police department, actually the construction of that won't begin until the spring, but that will be completed in 2015. It will free up additional area in our recycling. For those of you who don't realize it, that garage that sits in the middle of the recycling center also serves as an impound building for police evidence, and we just think that it's good management to separate the two. We have some ideas about how to use that building in recycling. Some people have been talking about having a lending library where when you bring your books to the recycling center, instead of dumping them, put them on the shelf, and if somebody wants to take one and read it, they can. And after a while, if the books just sit there, then we will recycle them and we'll make room for more. It's just an idea that has been bannered around, and if any of you think it's a good one, let me know. But I do want to talk about a project for next year, and that has to do with updating our entire technical system here in Vernon Township. I'm talking about computers, I'm talking about servers, I'm talking about software. Better than half of the computers in Vernon Township are still running on Windows XP, which is no longer supported by Microsoft, which means that we have a tremendous amount of work to do, and under the capable leadership and knowledge of David Ragnetti, our outside consultant, we have been given an estimate of the investment that we're looking at. It's a significant investment. As we move forward in the budget process and draw to the final budget for 2015, I want you to know that one of the other goals that we had set, which was to bring Vernon Township's computer system into the 21st century, will be at the head of the list for 2015. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. I'd definitely be remiss if I let this program go by without taking a moment to extend congratulations to the winners in this past week's election. And I want to start, if I may, at the top of the ticket. Senator Cory Booker, who happens to be of the party with a D on his shirt, and I know you all know that I'm a lifelong R on my shirt. I'd like to congratulate the senator and take the time to thank him and his staff, along with Senator Menendez and his staff, for intervening on behalf of Vernon Township in our ongoing appeals to FEMA concerning reimbursement to our homeowners associations, the Lake Communities and the other homeowners association, all the way back since Irene. We have been, in fact, working and trying to convince and overcoming objections with FEMA to get that money for our communities, and we're closer than ever to doing that, and that comes with the help of the two senators. It comes with the help of Governor Christie's staff, particularly the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, who have been unbelievably supportive of Vernon Township's homeowners. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to thank them. I'd also like to congratulate Congressman Scott Garrett. As an old politician, it was kind of fun to have to see you work a little bit, Scott, but you won. Congratulations. Phil Crabb. What can I say about Phil Crabb? You know, Phil is probably one of the finest gentlemen that you're going to find. Truly a gentleman. Sometimes, Phil, I think, what's the word I want to use? I think that his optimism is good, but I think sometimes it may extend beyond the situation. But I like working with him. He's honest. He and I have a great working relationship. We talk to each other. We don't always agree. Hell, nobody always agrees with me. I don't blame him. But I'm glad that he won. But I also want to congratulate Bill Waitman. Bill, you worked hard. I have to say, I never heard one person during this campaign have anything negative to say about you, Bill Waitman, personally. However, you knew when you entered the race that winning as a Democrat in Sussex County is no easy task. But you're to be congratulated on the quality of your campaign, and to the 3 candidates who won election to the Vernon Town Board of Education, congratulations to you. I wish you the very best. You've got some really tough decisions ahead of you. Good luck. I'd like to close this evening by wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I hope that your holiday is peaceful, that your holiday is joyful, and that you share the blessings of your life with those that you love. Have a great evening. I look forward to seeing you the next time.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by the Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, and Valley Paint and Hardware. Come in. We're local.